Yeah. What's up?
Hey, bud, what's going on?
Not too much.
Oh, tired,
Yeah.
tired. Long weekend. Good long weekend, though. Good long weekend. Obviously, we were in Germany,
Yeah.
and then there was the Signature 2 this weekend. So, all sorts of stuff to talk about. Um, we're going to have, we're going to be joined by Liam here in a few minutes, who was the lone UK player this time to bring home any wood, but he brought home two pieces. So super proud of him for that.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So a lot to get into, man. How was your weekend?
Tiring. Kid weekend, so weekend full of bank holiday fun, so zoo, beach, seaside, but on top of that, the late night staying up watching Sig 2 on YouTube and
Yeah.
ESPN2 and that. So a, a few late nights when I'm getting up early with the kids, not a great combo. So I've been powered by Red Bull this weekend.
Yeah. No, I remember those days, man. I remember those days.
Well, it's worth it.
Definitely remember those days.
Yeah.
So,
even
man,
under,
go
even I had the boards out a little bit yesterday, like while I was barbecuing again, just had the boards out for an hour throwing.
Yeah, I saw quite a few people from the UK had
Yeah,
their boards out over the weekend. It did look a little bit chilly, and a lot of people saying it was pretty daggum windy.
yeah,
So we had great weather in Germany, with the exception on Sunday. It was a bit chilly and overcast, so it kind of was I guess it was preparing us to come back to the weather today, which has not been that great. But yeah, we uh we drank a lot of beer, played a lot of cornhole, man. It was fun, man.
yeah.
Got to see some of you know, our friends from the mainland. Um, yeah, 148 singles players
Nice.
from 5 different countries.
Yeah,
82 teams for doubles.
they're good numbers.
Yeah, man, it was a lot, dude. It
Yeah,
was a lot. Um, and some good teams, and some teams that had never teamed up before.
yeah,
And we'll get into that a little bit as well. Um, there were some key players missing this weekend because it was the Croatian national championships. So we were only represented by one Croatian this weekend, and that was Katarina.
yeah.
I did ask her why she was there and not at the national championships, and honestly, she just said, "Ah, it's bank holiday. I got a couple extra days off, so I thought I'd take advantage of it and come to a another ACL event while I didn't have to take off work."
Yeah.
So I respected that. I thought, yep,
Yeah.
that's what I would have done.
Yeah.
I mean, heck, I've toyed with the idea a number of times of not going to the national championships here in the UK and going to areas. So,
Yeah.
which would have probably happened had I not won the qualifier. I think that's pretty
Yeah.
much the only thing that really, cemented me going to nationals because of I figure if I win a qualifier, I probably need to go try to defend it, so to speak.
Yeah.
Um, because no offense, but I'd just soon go play in a castle in
Yeah.
Bavaria. Um,
I mean, that does look like one of the nicest locations we've seen. I
absolutely,
think.
it's going to be absolutely stunning. I bet.
Yeah.
So we'll see, though. I think qualify. The nationals, our nationals will be a good event. Um, Obviously, we do ours a bit different. We only have the top 16, and then everybody else comes and plays in a tier 2 event, which is awesome too. There's nothing to be there's nothing to scoff at that. It'll be a tough one as well for everybody that's playing in that one. There's some good competition in that one.
It gives them other guys who ain't really up. Their level's not there yet, of like the likes of Liam, yourself, Jared, Dan Lilly, but it gives them other guys a chance to like go on with something.
Yeah, for sure. But it's just another. Honestly, it's just another event on the schedule, isn't it?
Yeah.
So just another opportunity to come and play some cornhole, hang out with some really good people.
Yeah.
And just have a good time. And I like that. I mean, I'm not happy with everything going on the day, but that wasn't a decision that I got to make, and it was made by other people, and I guess it is what it is, and I'm just gonna have to suck it up and deal with it.
Yeah.
And I mean, I would have thought I'd have been the number 2 seed, coming in with a tie, essentially with Richard, in both of us having won a qualifier, but then I would have thought the tie break would have went to order of merit points.
Yeah.
Order of merit points, just like the top 16 was chosen on. And then I would have thought that that's how we would have seeded out the tournament bracket. But we'll go into groups and we'll come out seeded from group play.
Yeah.
Which, I'm just going to have to not get off to a slow start like I normally do. I'm going to have to get there and get ready to play quickly.
Yeah. Well, I'll be in group with Liam, so I'll need to get a running start.
Yeah.
But I'm looking forward to it because I've not actually thrown bags against Liam yet. In a competitive game, so.
I'm sure I have, but I don't remember.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it'll be tough. It's tough for me. Ali's seemed to have had my number for the last few matches. So yeah, I mean, it'll be a tough draw. I've never played. I don't think I've ever played Macus, Richard. So yeah. I'm looking forward to that one. Hopefully he doesn't throw as well as he did.
Yeah.
Or he might be beating everybody in that group.
Yeah.
And then of course I've got the Wizard in my group, and I mean, we talk about how nice Richard or John is. He literally sent me a message and was like, if you just play slow and steady like you did at qualifier 4, you're going to beat all of us anyway. That paraphrasing, but I mean, that's essentially what it was, that I had nothing to worry about if I just play the way I played at qualifier 4.
Yeah,
and I thought,
just point everybody to death.
But I thought, man, what a stand-up guy. Like,
yeah,
you've got your own job to do, and you're still giving props to the other people in our group and in the tournament.
Yeah.
Like, I give props to everybody that made top 16. That's well done. That's what you're supposed to do. I'll give props to Ali for beating me the last few times. I'll give props to Liam, Richard, you, everybody, right?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I've got a job to do. And I'll give you your props after you beat me. I don't know if I can give out the hey, oh, you're going to do great before I got to play you. I don't know if I want to give you that kind of confidence, but that's the kind of guy John is. And, I think it actually probably, for him, it probably helps his game, because then he just gets to be relaxed and know that he's there to play, but he's also there just to have fun and be friends.
Well, I must say, coming in as a low seed, like, there's no expectations on me for that. So I think I might surprise myself. Like, with no expectations, I'm just going to go in there, the mindset of just enjoy the day, throw bags, hang out, and I'll probably play some of the best cornhole I've played all year. Because we all know when I'm relaxed and chilled, it's what I do.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope so. But speaking of you playing, I mean, I'm pretty sure Liam's ready to jump into this call, or should be any minute now, and then we can talk to him about how he feels about the group
Yeah.
pairings and the seedings and stuff.
Yeah.
Obviously, give a shout out to Simon Ballard. He was our guest director in Germany this weekend, and did a great job. We wanted to get him on tonight, obviously, but he has some family commitments, so he won't be able to make it on. But he did say thanks for the invite, even though he couldn't make it.
Yeah.
But yeah, he did a stand-up job this weekend. As I mentioned, when you're talking 148 singles, you're breaking that down into 3 tiers.
Yeah.
And it's a lot going on. And then on singles day, while they were doing that, they were preparing for the pro event later in the day. And while they were doing that, also having line draw sit and goes. I mean, it was the closest one to, say, like Trier or Paris out of just a normal season event. But a lot of fun and a lot of good people. And again, you start to see how much that level of competition is growing. Because I've got one big surprise, like not a surprise, but one I want to talk about because it's just an interesting one. So yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully,
And just going back to that with Simon being the guest director there, that's only going to help with the UK event in July.
100%.
I mean, guest director there and the main director, Tom was there, so obviously the main guy for ACL Europe, but then Thomas Pernack, who's one of the most experienced and tournament directors in mainland Europe. So Simon would have picked up a wealth of knowledge there, no doubt.
100%. And if I'm not mistaken, I think it's going to be Thomas Pernack as the guest director at our event too.
Yeah.
So that's great news for us because that does mean that we might even have some leeway in the fact of, while people are sitting around getting some of those blind draws and things like that are just fun to play. I mean, I ended up getting second in one of them and got €20 to pay for some
fucking
beers.
war. Look at him.
That's what took him so long to get on.
Any bigger with all them trophies behind him.
But that's what took him so long to get on. He had to set all that up.
How we both doing?
All right.
Man. We're doing good. How are you feeling, man? You make it home okay, I see?
Yeah, I made it home. I'm tired. I've basically been in bed all day, just trying to recover my body, basically.
Yeah, I've been holding the couch down, dude. I feel you.
Yeah. There's Helly as well.
Hi, Helly. All right, man. Before we get into Germany, dude, we started talking about the UK National Championships and kind of the seeding and the groups.
Yeah.
And a little bit about that, just because that's, some stuff we talked about over the weekend.
Yeah.
And, I've mentioned about how I thought I should be the number 2 seed just based on order of merit points. That's how everybody else got seeded, except for me, it kind of looks like. And then kind of how we thought it would be seeding into the bracket based on the order of merit, not into groups, but it is what it is. And we're just going to have to deal with it and play hard. And then, of course, Graham being in your group, which is kind of an unfortunate draw for him.
Well, yeah, I think, to be honest with you, I think all the groups are obviously always going to be pretty tough, aren't they? Because
absolutely.
I mean, it is the top 16 in the UK at the moment, and Graham. So,
I mean, he is right. I was 17. No, I was 16th.
No,
You
you
are
were.
Richard was
You were
17th in the rankings, but because of his qualifier win, he got in ahead of me. So that's why I was 17th in for the Nationals, but got in thanks to Ben Shaw dropping out.
Yeah, but yeah, I've got the groups up here, and yeah, I think, if you just look at qualifier 4 as an example, there were like 5, maybe even 6 people that could have looked like they could have won that one.
Absolutely.
So like, yeah, the fact that I think at least, obviously, a person in each group could win it, i.e. the highest seeded people in each group, but then you could probably even chuck in a few others on their day can definitely top it. So I think there are some maybe slightly more difficult groups if everyone plays to their highest ability. But I think overall it's going to be quite a good tournament.
Absolutely.
But yeah, your group in particular, you've got Ali coming in. Before Q4 was seeded number 2.
Yeah. It's been hot the last couple months, man.
Yeah, and then obviously you've got Macca's as well. He's coming in technically the lowest seed, but he went on the longest undefeated run.
Yeah,
Pretty
he's probably got the
much.
most, in my opinion. I guess one could say I've got the most momentum coming off of the win, but for me, I think Macus has probably got the most momentum coming into this tournament. Like the way he played in qualifier 4 and the run he went on in qualifier 4, I think to me that gives him a lot of momentum coming in.
Yeah, 100%. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. Everything changes. Everything changes when it comes to them big competitions.
Sure does. Speaking of big competitions, man, let's get into this. Let's get into Germany, dude.
Yep.
Let's get into Germany. And man, did we have a good time.
Oh yeah, really good time.
You had a better time. We get there on Thursday. We go hang out. Thanks, Woody. Woody from Euro Trash Podcast. Doing a heck of a job, man. Taking care of us. Picking us up from the airport. Letting us stay at his place last night so that he could take us back to the airport this morning. Just stand up, dude. And I'm excited to get him over in the UK this summer when he PCSs and moves to my town and to my club. But definitely. Let's get started with Crew Cup, man. So I never played in a Crew Cup. Didn't know a ton about Crew Cup until recently when I did a little research on it because we signed up for it and I needed to know what I was getting myself into. And let me tell you, man, I don't know if Crew Cup is for me. I was terrible. Terrible. You're throwing one bag and then you're waiting on 3 other bags to be thrown before you come back and throw another one.
Yeah.
Almost. You know what I mean? So I'm throwing, they're throwing, my teammates throwing, and then the other dude's throwing before I'm throwing again.
Yeah, it's I was in the same position as yourself, obviously. I think I even messaged you when you were like, "Oh, have you signed up for the Crew Cup?" I was like, I have no idea what it was. I was like, I don't know, should I? Can I even enter this? Do I need a crew? I'm going over with just you. So is that a crew? I thought that was doubles, or am I mistaken? So but yeah, we went for it, and yeah, it's just I found just a totally different mental game. I found the fact that you have not just like your partner, like in doubles, that you can let down with one shot, but you've got fewer shots to make a decision on. However, you could let 3 people down on your team.
And I did.
But I can't remember who was your who was your like team captain,
Arno.
or should we explain?
Arno Simmons.
Arno,
So
yeah.
what they did is they took the top. I don't know. I can't remember how many teams there were. I think there were 16.
Yeah.
They took like pretty much the top 16 pros that were in the building.
Yeah.
Plus 2 others, I think, because I think there were only 14 pros there this weekend.
Yeah.
So then they took 2 others, and I don't remember who they were, and then they blind drew everybody else.
Yeah.
So none of the pros were going to be stacked on the same team or anything like that. So they blind draw everybody else, and then that was your team, and I was on Team Arno. Liam was fortunate enough to draw Team Goron, and I say fortunate enough because don't kid yourself, Arno's awesome too, great player. Any of those guys are good players, we know that. But Goron is such a nice guy. He's just fun to play with. So is Arno. I've played against Arno. I've played with Arno, but I really enjoy sharing the boards and playing with Goran because he's just such a nice guy.
Yeah.
So that worked out for you because it was what you,
Matt, me. Well, Goran was the team captain,
yeah,
El Capitan, and then we had Max. Can't remember his surname, but
Max Kreitzer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We had Max, and then we had Sepjan from Germany.
Right?
What's that? Sorry.
Semyon. No,
Semyon.
Semyon Bart. Yeah.
Yep, from Germany. Good friends with Richard.
Yep.
And then myself. So I was probably going in as the lowest seed in the team. However, when we had a discussion, Max was pretty highly rated in Germany.
No, and I think Max is sitting.
He's
top
second
15?
In Germany.
I think he's sitting like top. I think he's sitting top 20 in ACL Europe standings.
Yeah, yeah.
So it wasn't like, I mean, your team was, in that degree, was fairly stacked.
Yeah. Yeah, because obviously I don't know every single person that was there. So it was hard for me to sort of tell. I obviously knew a couple of names, but mainly it's the pros that I know most of the time. But yeah, once I started talking with my teammates, we pretty much just we just set up with whoever we had like the best chemistry with. So I was with Semyon. I was with Semyon. Goran was with Max. We thought that maybe, they would be the points getters. We would just try and keep up with whatever team we had. But if I'm totally honest, yeah, we just we blew through it. We went 8-0.
Yeah, all of y'all
didn't lose a game. Yeah.
Yeah. And you played team Thomas Schwartz in the finals.
Yeah.
And which in my opinion had a couple, like, I don't remember everybody on their team, but one person that stuck out to me was that dude from Lithuania, Sibyan or something. I can't pronounce it. I'm sorry if you're listening and I'm butchering it. I'm terrible with names as it is. But yeah, I mean, that dude, that dude,
he was throwing lights out.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's how your weekend started real good.
Yeah, it did. Started really well, and then I would probably say, after getting that win, going into the second day, I was actually then partnered up in the swap with the Lithuanian who you just mentioned, who was throwing lights out.
Yeah.
So I was like, cool.
And that got y'all into second place.
Yep, it did indeed.
Came up against a real tough team in Thomas Pernak and Yaka Labor.
Yeah.
Yaka that dude's good, man.
Yeah. He won doubles, didn't he? So
yeah,
we'll last day,
as well. But then so we go into the swap, and we got Thomas Pernak and Yaka taking it down against yourself and Sevyan from it's
Giannis. No,
Giannis. something
Yeah.
like that. And then his Lithuanian partner, Aramis and Irene Bumbar ended up getting third. So not a bad event
Yeah.
for Lithuania on the day.
Yeah, because we that was all on the on court one, wasn't it? Because we played them in that loser bracket final. I think we got knocked down by I can't remember who knocked us down. It was a good team though, and I was surprised to not see them in the final. I just can't remember who it was now.
Yeah.
I think we were both throwing off for that loss that knocked us down to the loser bracket.
Was it Dirk? Was it Dirk Lau? No, maybe not. I can't remember.
Yeah, I can find out for us, but yeah, it was I went 4-0 in that as well. There was a point when I was about 14-0 at the German Open, which I was like, this is insane. Yeah, so it was it was going pretty well. And then we had
we got
blind
into
draw.
the blind draw. And this is where the Roman Empire starts to kind of take over. So obviously his team didn't fare all that well in the Crew Cup. He didn't, nothing against whoever he had in the swap, but it just didn't pan out. You guys just played better. And then we get into the blind draw, and now he doesn't win it with Mario Simon, but they do get second. They got beat by Volker Steele and Dirk Lau. And they're not huge. I don't know if they're huge names necessarily you're seeing for ACL Europe standings so much as they are just big names in Germany. And they're playing really well in Germany, and they're always in contention. I feel like they are anyway. Every time I see them, they're always playing really good. And both really nice guys. But like I said, this is where Roman starts taking over with podiums. And you get into the so that puts us through Friday, and we get in there on Saturday morning, and for singles, and unfortunately for Yaka, he's not feeling well, so he withdraws from singles on Saturday, which I feel terrible for him because I think he could have made a really good run. I really do. He's been playing so good lately, but we get into singles, and Roman comes out of rounders, number 1 seed, obviously, goes into bracket, wins his first one, and then all of a sudden, lo and behold, Richard Blank takes him down. And puts him in the loser's bracket.
A big takedown as well. It was, I think Roman only got 6 points.
Yeah, it was either 24-6 or 24-9. I cannot remember.
Yeah, single digits definitely. So, yeah, really good showing from Richard.
But it doesn't matter. Roman says, no more. I'm coming back. And he takes down singles, man. He just goes on a run and takes down singles, beating EJ Bondran in the third place match. So EJ comes in at third, which was still a good showing, man. There were some good people. But to me, the standout in that, just because I know he's good. We watched him in Switzerland as well. I don't know if I expected him to be in the finals, but Philip Daniker, man, getting second behind Roman. And like I said, I mean, the dude is good. The dude can throw more bags, but I don't know if I personally thought he would have been in the finals. How do you feel, Liam?
Well, I think it's all about the way he plays. I mean, we look at, his style of play is like that: block, get around, collect. Very, very similar to Gavin, Chris, and we see good it's like how the Americans, the American pros play.
Sure.
They can work around these blocks. They can, they can score 4-baggers when it's a dirty board because they're just going to collect these crazy bags and all of that. So I found like, that's why I think he got so far, because he was probably on at
Sure.
that time, but he had you always get it for that king seat. You have such a huge weight.
Yeah.
To get to that final, and then he's probably nearly there with that. I mean, it's a very strange rollback, I have to admit, but it works a lot of the time. But when you're playing someone like Roman, maybe the occasion gets to you, and Roman is just so, when he's dialed and his airmails are like, I mean, we said it on the commentary for the doubles, like a laser. It's like on a
Yeah.
shoestring. And you've just got to commit to like your game plan. But he's going to punish you if you're off by a matter of centimeters, like, an inch off.
Yeah.
He'll punish you, and then you've got to then try and pull out some of these crazy collect shots just to wash out a round. And yeah, it just wasn't quite enough. It wasn't quite enough on the day for that one. But I think you'll always get quite far if you can play, 70% of your rolls, your collects, things like that. I think you can get quite far in Europe.
Sure.
But there's always going to be that one person, especially if you're in king seat, where maybe you've had time to cool down.
Yeah, for sure. It matters.
Yeah.
I mean, it does.
Yeah.
And I get it, Graham. You don't really know much about that, but coming from two guys who've been sitting in king seat before, it can cool you down a little bit.
But I do think it's interesting to see, though, that like, I think it's interesting to see, like, I don't know how I feel, having been in both situations, been in king seat and had that hour to an hour and a half wait, maybe even longer in a big, 150 person competition like it was this weekend. But I've also gone through that loser bracket and double dipped someone.
Yeah.
I don't know what I prefer or dislike more. It's sort of like a catch-22 on both sides.
I think for me, and I joke with you, Graham, obviously I've only ever set one king seat. I think that for me, sitting the king seat, even though I'd kind of cooled off, it was hard to stay warm. Knowing that if I made mistakes, I had another game helped.
Yeah.
Right? As opposed to when you are coming up through the losers bracket and it's win or go home.
Yeah.
And that's it's kind of why I think like you said, it's such a catch-22 and it can go either way.
Yeah.
But I will say, so into the singles, to get to for the fourth place match where Roman had to play before he played EJ, obviously, he's Chris's kryptonite, dude. He's Chris's kryptonite. Chris cannot get over the hump with Roman. And I'm starting to kind of feel bad for him a little bit, man, because Chris is a pretty good dude, and I like hanging out with him and talking to him. But it's starting to, man, you kind of start to feel like, is this ever going to happen?
Yeah.
Yeah, just a tough day. And then in singles, for the tier 2, there was a lot of good players in tier 2.
You made a run there, though.
I ended up in tier 2, and I was having a pretty good little run, and then all of a sudden, I couldn't get bags to fall in the hole. Things were just, as that day got on, the boards got slow because that humidity started to pick up, and they'd been fast all morning, so you could just really run bags and they just drip in, and you were just there. Then all of a sudden, it wasn't, because as it gets slower, man, it starts to stick. It starts to kind of kick a little more, these different things. So I kind of fell pretty badly when it did happen. But yours, Alpes took down the event against Nicholas Forrest, and then Eva Steinbach from Germany ended up third place, and she played really good all weekend. We mentioned her a couple weeks ago and how well she played in was it Switzerland? I think that we were talking about her and how well she played there. So she's on her way up for sure, man. She's on her way up for sure. And then we played a bunch of blind draw sit and goes.
Yep, we did. Yep.
You won one, right?
I got second place.
Yeah, I got second
in one
one.
of them.
You got second and one.
So we won some beer money.
Yeah, won some beer money. That was amazing because I drank a lot of beer. But then we get to the pro event, and who takes it down? None other than Roman Elsner again.
Yeah.
He beat Silke in the final, and he also was able to avenge his loss to Richard Blank, beating him 24-0.
Yeah.
Like smoked him. It wasn't even in contention, man. I felt bad for Richard, to be perfectly honest. But I still got to imagine him coming over to the UK in a couple weeks. He's got to be feeling pretty good to take down the European number one.
Yeah, definitely.
To then take a chance, try to come in and take down the UK number one as well. I mean, obviously it's good matches between you guys, or it will be. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see because Richard's playing really good right now.
Yeah. But I will say I did take down a few pros on that Saturday as well myself. It was in rounders.
But you took down 3.
I took down 3 of them.
I mean, you should have been throwing lucky bag pro snipers because that's what was happening. Instead, you was throwing swag bag.
Hell yeah! But they worked.
Who'd you take? So you took down Goran right off the bat.
Yep.
Yeah.
Then I had Katerina.
Yeah.
And that was a 24-0.
Yeah.
But she was really throwing off that day.
She was, but you threw really well in that game as well. You threw some good bags in that game.
I then played a Norwegian guy. He wasn't pro. But then I had Gunny as my 4th and last game. He was coming into it 3-0, and obviously I was 3-0 as well. And that was a really, really good close game. And I beat him 21-19. So it was pretty much down to the wire, that one.
Then how did bracket go?
Not so well. Not so well. I did get one win.
Yeah.
I'm finding in these.
I'm finding it's really dark in your house right now.
Oh, sorry. Oh, it's getting darker, isn't it? Let me switch my light on.
And I can
I'll use it with some of my ACL winnings. I'll pay for the electricity this weekend. But yeah, it's nice getting paid for, doing well in competitions.
It sure is.
Often.
If only there. I mean, it's nice getting a prize for winning.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm finding I'm using it as like good experience. Like I've gone to that next level of I can actually beat some of these European pros if I really, dial in. Like I have got that ability.
Yeah.
It's now just doing it in more pressured situations, i.e. bracket. And that I feel is just going to come with experience.
Right.
And getting to these competitions. Like my year this year in Europe, I'm mainly just looking. I didn't set myself. Obviously, I'd like to get pro, but at the end of the day, I have to just get some more and more competitions under my belt.
Sure.
Because it's all well and good throwing on your own or whatever, or on club nights or wherever. But at the end of the day, nothing beats the pressure of a competition when your hands are sweaty. You get that a little bit shaky. You make rash decisions. So the fact that I'm able to, make it through brackets in a few of these competitions this weekend, and it's the longevity of it as well. Like 4 days by Sunday, man. The fact that the boards were sticky was not helping it with the fact that I don't even think my slick side wasn't even reaching the hole.
Yeah,
It's like I was just gone. My body was giving up on me. So yeah, it's just experience at the end of the day, isn't it? And
yeah,
making
for sure,
these
man.
runs.
And that takes us into doubles on Sunday, and man, it was tough going.
Yeah,
it was tough going. We struggled. I mean, what are you going to do? Right out the gate, we drew Arno and Silke for our first rounders game.
Yeah.
And I think we struggled kind of finding our range, especially with a little bit of a kind of we just kind of struggled finding our range. Like I started out the first few rounds actually not as bad. I mean, it was. I gave up a big round, but I felt more comfortable at the beginning than I did kind of towards the end. But yeah, so we took that loss. And then, of course, that means we turn right around and have to play again. And then I think we won that one.
Yeah, we won that one. That was more convincing, I would say.
Yeah.
Gave us a bit more confidence.
Yeah, we were like, all right, cool. We can do this. And then we lost again. But we did win our fourth one. We did still make tier 1.
Yeah. Yeah, we did. That was one of the main objectives, wasn't it, of the weekend, especially for doubles.
Yeah.
But it just meant that we had an absolutely terrible seeding.
Yep. So who did we draw first game in bracket? Arno and Silke. Of course we did. That's exactly who we had. And of course we lost.
They were nicely warmed up and beat us by even more this time.
Yep. Even worse.
Yep.
But then we dropped down in the losers bracket. And who did we had?
Well, we had two options. I was looking at we were going to play loser of game 57. It was the two Dirks were up against Thomas Schwartz and Yaka.
Yep.
So we knew all four of them could throw.
Yep.
And all four of them were throwing in the high 7s, but I would say at least 3 of them were throwing in the 8s, while we were just coming off about a
6.5.
6.5. Just not really.
Not at that level.
Yeah.
And then of course
we had the Dirks.
We got the Dirks. And I posted a picture yesterday to pretty much sum up how our day went. And if anybody's out there wanting to see it, go to my Facebook page, man. Literally, I put it as my cover photo because it was the craziest thing ever. I go for a roll. It rolls up perfect, but just then lands diagonally on top of Dirk's bag.
Which was hanging half in the hole. It was on a corner, not touching the board.
Just hangs up and just sits. You can actually read the wicked L's on this bag because it just sat there. It was we stopped the match to go take this picture because none of us could believe it. Matter of fact, the team next to us on the next boards stopped as well because they couldn't believe it. Everybody was just going, how does this even happen? Yeah. It was crazy. So that was the end of our day on that. So then we just proceeded to drink more beer.
Well, what we actually did straight afterwards, we were like, let's just throw against each other for a little bit. And I found it really funny that we played airmails only, and we probably threw a higher PPR than we did in a normal game.
Oh, yeah.
I think at one point I threw 4 back-to-back airmails. I was like, well, there you go. Okay. So,
but even then, we're throwing airmails, so we're only counting airmails, no hit the board, slide in, or anything like that.
Yeah.
And we're still doing that.
Yeah. We're actually sliding in now, and we're shooting airmails.
I mean, we're still getting 4, 5, 6 of our bags out of the hole every time that weren't even airmails. And it's just, where was that 30 minutes before when we were playing the Dirks? An hour before.
But again,
So
it just comes to that experience. So
yep,
just
and we'll get
take
there
it as a learning curve. Yeah,
absolutely. So we move on into the doubles, and for third place, we get Roman and Goran against Chris and Gavin Clark, who they've met up a number of times before, and of course, again, Roman takes down Chris.
What I would say, I actually, because we were let's put it this way, I was lucky enough to have plenty of free time on my hands when it came to, some of them later stages in the bracket due to our poor performance. I did actually manage to watch the game that Roman and Goran lost to drop down into the loser bracket, because even that was a bit of a surprise. But it's because they came up quite early on against Chris and Gavin themselves.
Yep.
And what I watched that game with EJ, and I have to say, in that game, Gavin was throwing lights out against Roman. Like, he pretty much played like the perfect tactical game to go against Roman.
But that's just it. The one he threw against Roman.
Which, again, was even more of a surprise then when it came to, court one. What was it? The loser bracket final. They switch it up.
Yep.
And Gavin is throwing against Goran. Chris is throwing against Roman. So, yeah, it was an interesting choice.
Yeah, I would have. I'm with you. I'd have probably stuck with it the other way because that's the one that you had.
Yeah.
But
was it a case that they switched who they were playing, or did they switch? Like to whether they're throwing inside or outside.
I'm not.
Because I know whenever I play doubles, like we just decide early on, it's like, right, you throw outside, I throw inside, and we just stick with that all day, and it doesn't matter who we play.
Yeah.
So did they switch up that, and it was Roman and Goran who switched?
Roman and Goran switched, and I think Chris and Gavin therefore.
So Chris and Gavin stuck with
throwing,
like, who was throwing outside, who was throwing inside.
Yeah, all day Chris was throwing inside arm, and Gavin was throwing outside. And they stuck to that on court one, because I actually commentated that game with EJ because we had watched the previous game.
Yeah,
So that loser bracket final I was chatting on, and it was.
There was a case
another
of,
good game.
Oh, they got us first time. Let's try something different from Goran and Roman.
I think Roman wanted to face Chris again. Yeah. I mean, if you're Roman and you continue to beat Chris and you got beat by Gavin, you definitely want to switch that back.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, Roman and Goran took down Chris and Gavin, and then they came up against Thomas Schwartz and Yaka Labar, I think. Yeah. But so Roman and Goran have got a double dip them, and they beat them the first game. And Yaka and Thomas, they've been sitting there for a while. In the king seat, man.
There was some definite nerves coming from them as well, wasn't there? There was a few front boards from Thomas. There was some, flying off the back from Yako because his bag wasn't cutting as well as he wanted, and his rolls were a bit off, and his blocks were a bit off. Definite some nerves, I think, due to that lack of experience.
For sure. But it was the second game was such a good game and close.
Yeah.
And we were fortunate enough. I have no clue why they kept letting us commentate, but they did. I had a good time doing it, but I'm hoping nobody out there really was watching and thought I was I mean, I probably sounded like I was dumber than a box of rocks, but yeah, I mean, it was fun to commentate. It was fun to watch. There was some
Yeah.
wow
No one
moments
dragged
for
us.
sure.
No one dragged us off the. I was expecting after the first game,
Oh,
EJ
yeah.
to step over and be like, and Woody, who would be the regular commentators with
To be like,
KT, but
Get
obviously
off,
his
get
voice
off
was
here,
gone.
dum-dum.
Yeah, but
But
no,
they didn't.
we. Yeah, it
So,
was either us or no one. So
hey,
you
but
get
it
to
was
listen
fun.
to us.
I had a lot of fun.
Yeah,
Now, obviously, we know Woody and KT usually commentate a lot of it, and KT especially. But while all this is going on, or just before the finals, we get the finals in the doubles tier 2, where KT and his partner John Litchfield were playing.
Mm.
So they ended up losing to Thomas Reichert and Torsten Mampel. And then Dirk Zimmer and Patrick Bolgen took down third for tier 2. And I know I think we get kind of hung up on this word tier 2. Because you remember we were trying to explain to some people this weekend, because we were saying tier 2 for the national championships in the UK, and we're like, it's really not a tier 2. They took the top 16 for national championships, and everybody else is playing in another tournament. Can't really call it tier 2 because nobody's playing, and then this is what we're doing, like they do for ACL Europe, and they have to do it because there's so many people.
Yeah.
Right? There's just so many people. But with that being said, when you have 148 singles and you can only take the top 64, there's still really good competition down in singles.
Yeah.
100%. And when you're talking in doubles and you have 82 teams, there's still going to be some good teams that don't make that top cut.
Yeah.
And I think that's all it really came down to. I know KT wasn't super happy with being tier 2, but I mean, you can't be mad at a podium finish no matter where you're sitting, whether it be tier 2, tier 1. And I know people get hung up on it. I do. I find myself getting hung up on it and always want to be tier 1 because that's the only way you're collecting points for ACL Europe standings. So that becomes a huge deal in making tier 2. So when you have some of these pros that just have an off day and then they end up in tier 2 in singles or doubles, that's hurting them, man. And they got to now go try to pick up another tournament so they can drop their worst one,
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, even if you just look at the tier 2 for the singles, like we mentioned, Eva coming in third. You got Katerina there, who is an ACL European pro. You've got Kevin DeConnick as well, who can throw bags. You've got Andreas Menn, who I got third with in the swap, in the swap, I believe it was, or maybe the blind draw in Switzerland.
Yeah.
Yourself, like we mentioned, who can throw bags when you're really on, you're on.
Yeah.
I mean,
I was really proud of my game against Rudolph when I went. I threw a 9 over 17 rounds, and it probably could have been a bit higher even, but I had a couple bags hang up on me and not drop in the hole.
Yeah. Kome was in tier 2. Like, it's those people. Woody was there. Fleur was there. Like, it is, at the end of the day, tier 2 in Europe. A lot of those people can make good runs in the UK.
Oh, 100%.
So there's, if you get high up, even if it's, doubles tier 2, KT bringing home second place, that's nothing to be sniffed at, in my opinion.
I agree.
At all. But yeah, it wasn't quite tier 1, but then again, at least they got more games than me in singles.
That's true.
But yeah, I think that pretty much sums up the actual gameplay from Germany. But the actual weekend, how did you find it?
Oh, I always have a blast going to the European events, man, because everybody is literally just so nice, and it's just fun to hang out with these guys.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is. Yeah, I like I said, we do it we talk about this every time, man. You UK guys, dude, I recommend just go do it, man.
Yeah, 100%.
There's always something for somebody as well, man. Like,
yeah,
we talk 148 singles, and they had 3 tiers. So even the defeated people get to still go play in a competition against other defeated people.
Yeah.
So,
and also, I can say this as someone who's a lot less sociable than yourself, Josh. But just in general, I'm reasonably quiet. In like a room full of 150 people. But I came home and I had about 15 friend requests.
Yep.
And always had someone to talk to.
For sure.
You play in the Crew Cup, and I was chatting with my 3 partners from the Crew Cup the whole time. Throughout the whole weekend, like we'd always, even if they didn't speak any English, there'd be a nod of the head or whatever, or you get chatting to people just from doing some of these competitions, some of these random blind draws, swaps, anything like that.
For sure.
Yeah, so it's an invaluable experience if you want to get better for some of these UK competitions, in my opinion.
I agree. I think it's helped me tremendously. So yeah, I mean, go do it. It's good times. It's good times. We got Italy next in a few weeks.
Yeah, we do indeed.
I guess about a month.
The
weekend after national championships, we go to Italy.
Yeah.
Do it again.
Can't wait. Cannot wait.
Well, stick around, man. We're going to go over some Signature 2 results, man.
Yeah.
And we'll go over our fantasy league results.
That sounds good, because I don't know. I haven't read the messages on our group chat about the results, so all of this is a lovely surprise to me.
Awesome.
Right, so we will start with singles then. So, bracket A, taken down by Zach Aitken. He avoided the double dip from Trey Birchfield there. And
I was
bracket B.
glad to see Trey making a run in his bracket.
Yeah.
Though.
Yeah.
And bracket B, Jamie Graham avoided the double dip from Tony Smith, and that was a king seat rematch. And then bracket C, Jay Rubin beat Derek Holland. And bracket D, this was the surprise one. Colby Shearer beat Mark Richards.
Was Colby sitting king seat? And
yeah,
wow,
it's crazy.
So who knocked Mark down?
Yeah, and before the tournament, Mark was my favourite to go in and add to his tally. So that was a bit of a surprise there. And then in the final 4, Jamie beat Colby, and Zach Aitken beat Jay Rubin, although Jay Rubin put up a hell of a fight back there, coming back from 18-2 down before eventually losing 24-20.
Jesus.
And like that one kind of was stung a bit because we had some additions to our draft. And when it comes to my singles pick, I was toying between Jay Rubin and Trzynski, who I ultimately decided with. So I made the wrong decision there. But in the final, Jamie Graham ended up winning 25-14 over Zach Aitken. So he's added to his tally. I think that one puts him number 2 all time behind Mark Richards now.
Does it put him ahead, or is it tying with Trey?
It puts him. I think he ends the It's either that one or the doubles, which we'll get onto next. But he's after this weekend, he's now number 2 all time
Okay.
on his own. Yeah.
Who is
So
sorry?
then,
Sorry, who was that? I didn't catch that.
Jamie Graham.
Jamie Graham. He's now number
Jamie.
2 all
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
And so, then doubles, bracket A, Tyler Cobb and Caleb Medenka beat Alan Rolls and Chris Kingsbury. Then Jamie Graham and Jacob Trzynski beat Matt and Brett Guy. Bracket C, Matt Wilson and Colby Shearer double dipped AJ Sims and Braden Wilson. And then bracket D, Jeremiah Ellis and Devon Harbaugh beat Stephen Bernadette and Philip Lopez Jr. And that was a King Seat rematch there. Then your final 4, Jamie and Jacob beat Tyler and Caleb. Then Matt and Colby beat Jeremiah and Devon. So Devon's still not getting over that hump. I think when he finally does, it's just going to be a floodgates thing.
Yeah.
When he finally gets that national, I think he'll win another 1 or 2 that same year.
Yeah.
Potentially. It's going to happen. But then in the final, Jamie Graham and Jacob Trzynski beat Matt and Colby. So that
Sweet. For Jamie,
was then what puts Jamie Graham number 2 all time. So he swept the weekend.
Wow.
And then in the women's, he had Marlene Dela Cruz Gante. She avoided the double dip in the Queen Seat rematch against Cheyenne. So Cheyenne ain't the queen no more. And then Elizabeth Tennyson, she beat Linda Ford. Caitlin Allshouse beat Dawn Fay in bracket D, and then bracket C, and then bracket D, Sam Finley beat Sarah Cassidy in a Queen Seat rematch. Then your final 4, Elizabeth beat Mylin, and Caitlin beat Sam. Then Caitlin beat Elizabeth to get the major. So Caitlin with her first major.
I told you, Caitlin was coming, dude.
Yeah.
I said it. That girl was coming for it.
Yeah. And then another good, I think that's back-to-back seconds for Elizabeth Tennyson as well.
Because I'm pretty sure, too, that's the Lori Duel was in Caitlin's bracket.
Yeah.
And Caitlin beat Lori, but Lori had a good run in the bracket as well, to be honest.
Yeah. And then doubles. So there's only 2 brackets for that. So Sarah Cassidy and Elizabeth Tennyson beat Peyton Hayes and Caitlin Allshouse in bracket A. Then bracket B, Rosie Streak and Sam Finley beat Cheyenne and Gina Ramirez. And then in the final, Rosie and Sam won that. And then in the seniors, double D, Damon Dennis, he beat Eric Cooper in a King Seat rematch in bracket A. Bracket B, Dan Shelton beat Ricky Doothry. Bracket C, Jerry Lockwood beat Donald Cupp. And then bracket D, Terry Mathis beat Steve Schroeder in a King Seat rematch there. Then your semi-finals, Damon beat Jerry and Dan beat Terry. And then Damon Derris beat Dan in the final. So I'm glad on that one. Like I still can't not pick Damon Dennis in the prop toss, and
Sure.
it's actually paying off for me there.
But didn't you drop
in our draft? Yeah, I dropped out Frank Modlin and put Donald Cupp in, but we don't get points for runner-up in bracket. So,
yeah.
Whereas it
But
was a better
still,
finish by
yeah,
thingy. So in theory, it was a good move. It still didn't pay off. So
sure.
we'll see what happens before we go into Sig 3. Like, see if anybody makes any more moves with drops and pickups. Like, I might have 1 or 2 that I want to do. I've not
got a
decided yet.
couple in mind.
And then in senior doubles, Frank Modlin and Damon Dennis beat Robbie Davis and Lee Tibbs, and that was a King's Seat rematch. And then bracket B, Steve Schroeder and Jerry Lockwood beat Jeff Reynolds and Dan Glukowski. And then Frank and Damon beat Steve and Jerry in the final. So Damon Dennis sweeping the seniors weekend.
That's not
Oh, wow.
surprising.
Yeah, and then juniors, obviously, with a few juniors doing well in main brackets, there was a few names missing because obviously they were on the live courts on the ESPN or whatever. But the brackets still. Bracket A, Tony Forbes beat Sammy Soto in a King Seat rematch. Gabriel Clausen beat Jacob Gore in the King Seat rematch. Ryan Trader beat Bryce Forbes in the King Seat rematch. And then bracket D, Jackson Gore beat Anthony Eastridge. Then your semis, Jackson beat Tony, Gabriel beat Ryan, and then Gabriel beat Jackson in the final. So another signature, another win for Gabriel Clausen. I mean, granted, this one was juniors and it was main bracket last time, but kid's throwing fire.
Yep. Still puts him up there for Rookie of the Year.
Yeah. And then junior doubles, yeah, Braden Wilson and Cash Chandler's beating Sammy Soto and Ryan Trader in a King Seat rematch. And then in the other bracket, Zach Aitken and Logan Dupler beat Anthony Eastridge and Hayden Gonzalez, and that was a King Seat rematch. And then Braden and Cash took that down.
Yeah, if you go back and watch like the celebration for that, it's kind of a cool little thing because obviously Braden Wilson's a kid as well.
Yeah.
But he's all over there picking up cash, like, yeah. It was pretty cool to watch.
And then to round out the pro stuff, blind draw was Ian Cripps and Ryan Wiedenfeld, double dip Jalen Jones and Hayden Gonzalez there.
Yep.
So
overall, man, just a really exciting weekend of cornhole.
Yeah. And going into our draft, so we just taking on some advice from Sean when we were on the big ass one. He said we didn't have enough, so we decided to extend our draft. So everybody got one additional singles, pick one additional doubles, and then another one where you could go either seniors, juniors, or women's. So we got a few extra picks in there. So with that, Liam got another 16 points this week.
Yeah,
And
I think I picked up Gabriel Clausen for the juniors, which I was pleased about. I nearly went for him for singles.
Yeah, and so then he got you some. He got you 8 points there. Elizabeth Tennyson with the runner up, she got you another 4 there. Terry Mathis with his bracket win got you some points there, and Trey Birchfield with his bracket runner up got you a few points there. And then Mika, who got to go first.
Micah.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, and got to go first in the draft. He picked up Jamie Graham, who we all stupidly left on the board first time round. So
yeah,
that paid off well for him. And as we know, Damon Dennis was his first overall pick, so that worked out, still working out well there. And then he also picked up Matt and Brett Guy, so the bracket runner up there got him some more points. So he did the best out of us all this weekend with 22 points. And then Woody got 6 more points. So thanks to Sam Finley with another bracket win. Mark Richards with his bracket runner up. And Tony Forbes, who he picked up in the draft with a bracket win there. That was 6 points for Woody. Then Josh picked up 16. So Caitlin, obviously with the win, got him full points there. Then Jeremiah Ellis and Devon Harbaugh with a bracket win gets him some. Ryan Trader with a bracket win again gets you some. And then Tony Smith with the bracket runner up. But another 2. So that was Josh ended up with another 16. Then I got 18 more points. So obviously I had Jacob Trudinsky and Jamie Graham for doubles. So they got me some more points there. Then Jackson Gore was second. So he picked me up some points. And then with the extension, I also picked up Alan Rawls and Chris Kingsbury. So their bracket runner-up got me a few points there. So I got 18. So current standings, still me on top with 36. And joint second with 32s, Liam and Josh. Micah in third with 30, and then Woody's back of the pack on 16.
Oof.
So,
Ooh.
but we got Sig 3 to look forward to, so there'll be more. I'm sure there's going to be a bit of movement.
When is Sig 3?
2 weeks, I think.
Yeah, I think they're coming thick and fast now.
Yeah.
It's not as big a wait, so.
And then prop toss.
I've not looked to see how well I actually did in that.
I'm pretty sure I got 5 or 6. 5.
Yeah, I think we were virtually the same bar, maybe 1. I think it was. Because I still went Damon Dennis and you went Steve Schroeder. I think that was.
Yep.
Might have been the only difference.
But it paid off. First time I've ever picked against Cheyenne Bubenheim in the women's singles.
Yeah.
And it worked out.
Yeah.
But it's kind of one of those things. I'm going to do that probably every time now because obviously I want Lori Dool or Caitlin Allshouse to win women's singles. So I'm not going to pick against them. But yeah. Anything else?
What's going on this week?
Club night tomorrow night for us.
Yeah.
Any day the sun is out is club night for Liam.
Yeah, doesn't even need to be the sun out. It just needs to have a free hour.
I may take tomorrow off as well.
Honestly, I probably will. I don't know. I don't know if I'll go to club tomorrow night just because of my body is sore.
Yeah.
But honestly, it'll come down to what Elliot wants to do. If Elliot comes home and he's like, hey, we going to practice? Then we're probably going to practice.
Yeah. So there's so tomorrow there's yourselves, there's Ashby. Wednesday there's Tony in Coventry. And then it's Narsdale Day Wednesday. Thursday, Chris and Charlotte in Newcastle.
Yep.
Nothing on Friday, I don't believe. Sundays will be Solent. And that's it. So
everyone getting ready for the nationals in what 4 weeks or something.
Yep.
Well, I was on tour last week. I did back-to-back club nights. I went to Ashby on the Tuesday, and then I was back down the M6 again on the Wednesday to go to Coventry. So I might go to one of them two again this week. See what time I finish work and any other plans. But I want to be practicing every week now, leading up to
you have
to nationals if I can, because I can't turn up on the day in the same bracket as UK number 1, the lumberjack there. All he does is get wood. I can't turn up with no practice and expect not to lose 21-0. So my goal is a few points.
Yeah, I'm going to be training plenty for it. Since I've never actually played you, I don't think, Graham, in a competitive match.
I think the only time we threw bags where we were keeping any sort of score was when we were just having a mess around game in Switzerland. You and Josh against me and Matt. So it'll be good.
For sure. For sure.
Yeah, you're one of the few that I'm still yet to play. You and Jared. It's just me and Jared need that game one day.
Yeah.
But
So
you
I'm
can add your-
hoping we draw each other in bracket. I know he'll probably beat me, but I just want to finally play against him.
yeah. Well, do bad enough in group, and you may get him first match.
Why not do good enough in group and get him later in bracket?
Just saying. All right, man. I don't have anything else other than remember Slicky Baggers.
Yeah.
Just be 10% off. They are still working on their website to get their merch out there. It's slowly coming on. I'm pretty sure it'll be this week or next. They'll start getting hats up. Then another week or two, they'll start getting some other stuff up on there. So keep an eye out for that.
Yeah. Well, I'm waiting for that. I want to get a few of the t-shirts. So
Let us know if you're not necessarily comfortable just going to them directly. I don't mind being a middleman for you. If you want to message us, message the podcast page directly. We'll have a look. Oh yeah, and then of course I don't think we talked about their raffle drawing they did, but I was glad to see that Chris and
Butch.
Hutch, that's right. They went ahead and donated to that cause and got their names out there for that. Unfortunately, they didn't win, but yeah, it was good to see them do it anyway. So we'll see how it goes moving forward.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Nice.
Outside of that, I had a great time this weekend hanging out, Liam, and throwing some bags. We didn't get the results we wanted, but it's a learning curve, and we'll get there.
Yeah.
You go again in Italy.
Yep.
We do indeed.
We got a couple more to get ready for the European Championships.
How many more are you actually doing together? I know Italy, UK.
Italy, UK.
Is that it? Yeah.
If I win,
you got
if I win the
partner,
lottery, we'll throw all of them in there. But
yeah, yeah, Italy,
because I know
UK,
you're partnering up elsewhere for Finland, aren't you?
yeah.
Yeah, I'm not going to Finland.
But I'm not going to Paris or to France. And he is going to France. So
yeah, we'll be all good.
Yeah, for sure. So, all right, man. Liam, thanks for being what is it? Are you this the fourth time you've been on the show?
Fourth, yeah. At this point, he's almost becoming co-host.
Yeah, for sure.
He spoke more than me.
Graham, that's not hard to do, bud.
But no, yeah, thank you for having me on.
For
Always
sure,
a
man.
pleasure.
And again, congratulations on a stellar weekend, bud.
Thank you very much.
Doing the UK proud.
We'll talk to you later, and we'll see you in a month.
Yep, see you in a month.
All right,
Auf
bud.
Wiedersehen.
Hey, and in the meantime, just board it.
Yeah, just bought it.
Just bought it.
Later. Bye.
All right, see you, Liam.
Bye.
All right, man. Well, we missed you there this weekend, but I understand family commitments and stuff.
And work, yeah.
For sure.
No time off allowed in May and that. I've been working in finance and month end, so it does suck that I'm restricted thanks to work, but there'll be others.
For sure.
All
right.
I'm hoping enough notice next year I can get more in. I mean, still got the UK and Croatia this year, so
absolutely
I'm not completely missing out. But next year I want to travel as much as I can, get as many as I can under the belt. So
me too.
We shall see.
Right on, bud. Well, in the meantime, I'm Josh.
I'm Graham. Remember, just board it.
Just board it. Peace out, buddy.
Cheers.